Tampa Bay's #1 news station. This is the Fox 13 4 o'clock news.
Okay, it's about that time. You guys know it. It always happens this time of year. The start of tax season, just a couple of weeks away. And of course, that means you'll start getting your W-2s soon if you haven't already. Let's talk about this, though. Attorney Jim Giardina with the Consumer Rights Law Group is with us, as he always is on Monday, with some valuable advice. Jim, what does the law say when it comes to when does my boss have to give me my W-2 by?
You know, that's a good question. The law is pretty clear. January 31st is the date that you should get your W-2.
Okay. And it seems like most people get theirs well before then, right?
You know, I always got mine in January. As an employer now, we rely on the payroll company, and usually comes right about now. It should be coming sometime this week.
So what happens if you haven't gotten it by, what do you say, January 31st?
That's right.
What do you do then?
Well, you know, there's a few things you could do, right? The first thing you could do, I think, is wait a couple days. You know, let's see how long,
okay,
right? Because you do have some other options. The other option is ask your employer, right? And I guess this depends on your personal sort of idea about how you want to live your life. Ask your employer nicely, did you send out the W-2s? Or maybe you sent them out and they're lost in the mail.
Right.
I'd give it a couple of days for the mail. And then your last option probably is you could call the IRS and report your employer. Now, I don't know what a good long-term strategy that is.
Exactly.
But that is an option.
Yeah, you may not be getting a W-2 the following year from that employer if you have to go down that road. Hopefully that doesn't happen.
The important thing to remember is you still have to file. Right? Even if you don't have your W-2, you still have to file with a substitute W-2. And if you don't, you know, you're still subject to the penalties.
And so many companies now, too, have gone to putting these online, some type of payroll database, and you can access it that way, hopefully. We talk about this every year, too, when it comes to tax filings. The identity thieves just work overtime this time of year with all of these schemes to try to get your information, try to make $1 off of your good name. What do we need to be aware of when it comes to identity theft and filing taxes?
Well, here's the big scam. It works like this. First, the thieves get a hold of your name, address, and your social security number. Second, they create a phony tax return. And the way they doctor the numbers makes it look like you, as the taxpayer, are entitled to money back. Right?
Okay.
Then they open up a bank account, they put the digits from that bank account onto the tax return, and they file that tax return electronically. They ask for a refund, many thousands of dollars. And they do it quickly as soon as tax time rolls around so that they can get the money, they can take the money and run.
So they get a return with your information.
Oh yeah, that's how they do it.
But then what happens when you file?
Well, that's why it's such a problem, right? Because it creates a lot of headaches, not just, you know, for the government, but for the individual too. So when the IRS is only going to allow one tax return per social security number, right?
And if somebody's already used mine, that's not me.
That's right, and that's where the headache starts. It could take months to get it sorted out, right? And if it does get sorted out, first of all, if you do owe money to the IRS, you need to pay it, right? Second of all, if you're expecting money back and you're still waiting these months for your tax return, that's going to potentially change somebody's life if they're waiting this long for a certain amount of money, right? 2017, the numbers are down, right? We don't have the numbers from 2018 yet because we're just filing now. But luckily, this is a trend that's going down. But you know, it was, I think, $3 billion in 2017, and 242,000 Americans were affected by this.
This is, I hate to wrap you up quickly, but the most important piece of advice to people watching, this makes me nervous when you say this. What's the best thing we can do to try to keep that from happening?
File early to prevent the thieves from taking your identity, and monitor your credit for other signs of identity theft.
Gotcha. All right, Jim Giardina, great advice for us as we head into tax season. File early, guys. You got that?
Thank you, gentlemen.